Podnutz Daily is brought to you by the official Podnutz Laptop Video Repair Collection. Over 10 hours of HD downloadable video. If you want to learn how to fix laptops, this is the way to do it. I just reduced the price, $54.95, and you can get that at laptoprepairvideos.com. Welcome to Podnutz Daily, episode number 205. Here with Clive Struber, who has a very interesting back history as far as where he's worked, and he ended up, what he's doing now is doing computer repair, but he didn't start off that way. Why don't you first tell us your website, your current website, and then tell us a little bit about your background, because I think it's interesting.
Okay, I've got two websites. One is from a home business, which is www.seniorpcmoments.co.uk, and one for a business site, which I'm just starting, which is www.westtech, that's westecbiz.co.uk. Cool. So those are my two websites.
And what's the difference between those two?
Well, one is really for my home users, and it's aimed at giving them an option to contact, tell them what I actually do, and there's also a page on there for getting a remote assistance, so they can log in and I can access their PCs quite easily, because a lot of my older customers are not that PC literate, so
right.
I like to give them an easy route. And the other one is just a very simple site, just to for businesses to reference, so that they just see simply what we do and try and encourage them to call us.
Cool. All right, well, tell us a little bit about your background, how you got started.
I went back in the 1980s. I did a electronics and a computer science degree, and then I started working Motorola Semiconductors for 15 years. I had a spell in Intel as well, but I worked as a systems designer, as working on the first off 68030 and then 68040 chips, which went into the early Apple Macs, and my job was to go out to customers in Europe and talk to them about what we were doing on the new devices, and then feed their inputs back to our design teams in Austin and Phoenix in the States. So I did that for a while, and I mean, that's where I really gained my love of computers, and I did that for about 10 years or so, and I got to know, I guess, as much as you decently need to know about 32-bit micros, and so then I moved into other bits of Motorola, into the equipment division, eventually leaving Motorola in 98, when I went on to join a Japanese-owned telecoms equipment company as their European MD, and I did that for nearly 5 years. But I decided that, having spent so long in corporate world, I really wanted to get out, and I left that job because there was a lot of travel. The money was great, but the travel was just killing me.
Right.
And I decided that I was going to work on my own. I did some consultancy from some US guys and who used to work with me at Motorola, and I bought a computer shop. And I guess I learned a lot of lessons when I bought the shop, because I was trying to do two things at once. I was doing the consultancy, and I was trying to run the shop. And to run the shop, I had to hire people. And I guess I learned, when you work in a big company, you learn business lessons about customers, and you learn about corporate world. But when you run your own business, a small business like that, you learn about it the hard way. It's your money. It's your overheads, and the lesson I didn't learn early enough was that you got to keep your overheads down, and you've got to be part of the business. And I wasn't close enough to the business, and as I was saying to you earlier, Steve, I'd be doing my consultancy, and I'd go into the shop during the day and see what the guys were doing, and there'd be a lot of people in there. And when these people went, I'd say to the guys who worked there, what do these guys buy then? And they go, oh well, they didn't buy anything, but they came in and they had a problem with this, and we helped them out with that. I said, well, you didn't charge them? Oh, no, well, and what happens, people would come in to us for advice and bring us some things to repair, but they'd go down the road to, I guess the equivalent of your Best Buy or online, and buy the parts from them. So anyway, long story short, I learned the lesson, and the shop closed because we didn't keep our costs down low enough, and our overheads were just too high. So I had to go back into the corporate world for a couple of years, but really soon decided that my initial decision to quit was the right one. So last year in April, I left a job which I was doing. I was running a call center and an internet support company, which provided support for mobile phones and for websites. But I was employed then by a large UK company. But I decided that I was going to quit, and then I started my own computer repair business. But this time on my own, and visiting people at home, so I could keep my own costs down.
Exactly. Okay, so what did you learn, Clive, about well, how are you treating your business now that you're on your own and doing it yourself?
Okay. Well, I'll be honest. I've learned quite a lot in the last 15 months. One of them is that there is a good business in the home support market, and I know a lot of people think that to be successful on your own, you've got to have regular income from business customers, and that's great, and we'd all like that, and I've got a couple, but if you're persistent and you build your base of customers and you build your reputation, then I believe, and I think I've shown it, that you can actually build a very healthy business from home users. I've built up over the last 15 months, I suppose, over 300, a list of 300 customers that I've actually visited and spoken to.
Over 3 months?
Sorry?
3 months, you said?
15 months.
Oh, 15 months. Okay.
God, I wish it was 3 months.
I was going to say, that's really nice.
But it's been steady, and as it's grown, then I've realized that people call me on average twice a year, and if you do the simple math, then if you have 250 regular customers and they call you twice a year, that's 500 visits a year, which is 10 a week. If you then add new customers that you get from local advertising and word of mouth, you can easily get to the sort of 20, 25 visits a week that keep you fully occupied.
Sure.
And but it's difficult, and I know how people feel when they start out, because you think, is the phone going to ring? What am I going to do for money next week? How's it going to work? But if you hold the faith, it does come, it does happen, because all I can say is it's happened to me, and I'm no different than anybody else. And all I've done is been persistent and kept pushing on it. I advertise, I talk to people, I push my business, but
well, you might be different. You might be different than other people. We don't know. How's your customer How's your customer service?
Well, I think it's good. I was listening to your podcast on Monday with Daniel, and it's exactly what he says. It's about you've got to be personal. People invite you in the home. If they don't like you and you're obnoxious,